Welcome to Well Body. I'm Renee, your host, and this is the podcast for everything your body needs as a woman to become healthier and fitter effortlessly. Here, we're all about feeling energized, beautiful, strong, and going from zero to thriving. Let's ditch the Fitspo diet culture once and for all and start living your best life with methods that actually make real lasting changes. It's time to embrace the journey to a well body holistically. Let's dive in together. Hello and welcome back to Well Body, the podcast where we dive deep into the science of women's health and wellness, helping you to feel energized, beautiful, and to truly thrive. I'm your host Renee, and today we're talking about something that affects all women and is my absolute favorite topic in the world, and it is really often misunderstood, and that is the menstrual cycle. We'll be exploring the menstrual cycle through the lens of the 4 seasons today. So just like nature, our bodies go through phases of growth, energy, and rest. And understanding these phases can help us to optimize our workouts, our workload, and even our nutrition. So let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start with phase 1. And phase 1 is your menstrual phase. And this is like winter. This phase marks the beginning of your cycle, and it lasts anywhere from 3 to 7 days, 4 to 8 days. And during this time, your body is shedding the uterine lining, and naturally, because of this, you might feel lower in energy, and that's okay. Think of this phase as a time for rest and reflection. Your body is doing a lot of internal work during this phase, so it's important to conserve your energy. And to do this, I do recommend you listen to your body. For your workouts, keep things gentle if you need to. Yoga, stretching, light walking, light hiking. Like, this isn't the time for you to be hitting PBs and pushing super hard. You probably will find it really hard to do that. So I encourage you to listen to your body and honor its need for rest. Now, during this phase, what I also recommend you do is not give up on resistance training, because resistance-based training is important every phase of your cycle. You're just not going to be hitting PBs. Don't have that expectation on yourself to be able to smash a workout and feel like you're on top of the world. Conserve your energy, like I said. Don't give up on resistance training. Just lessen your load and scale things back a little bit. Okay? And when it comes to your work or creativity, this is also not a time for you to be pushing yourself massively, but this is a phase for you to be focusing on reflection. It's a great time to be planning ahead, setting intentions, and engaging in deep, introspective work. So scale back on the high pressure tasks if you can. I know it's not always easy, but if you can be in control of that, my suggestion is for you to not schedule in massive meetings and deadlines and timelines around this phase of your cycle, because it's going to be a lot harder for you. I'm not saying you can't do it, but when we start living in accordance to our cycle as women, we fucking thrive. Okay? We are the most empowered versions of ourselves when we honor the cycle that is our lives as females. Okay? It is not something to be embarrassed of. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be so empowered by. Okay? That it actually helps you with making decisions and aligning things in your life wonderfully. It's something I personally really am tapping into this year, and it has made a massive difference in my own energy. And I want the same for you. That's why I'm talking about this. So when it comes to your work, okay, you're making sure that you're scaling back on those high pressure tasks, okay? It'll make you feel mentally a lot better about working and workload, because how many of you feel so overwhelmed during this phase of your cycle and you think, I can't do this anymore, I can't be a mom and I can't work, or I can't study and I can't work, or I'm finding just this uni thing just terribly hard, or work right now there's so much pressure on me. You feel overwhelmed, and then you realize, actually, I'm on my period. Maybe that's why I'm feeling that way. But honestly, if you just, where you can, set those boundaries and put those boundaries in place around what you plan to do in that phase of your cycle, you're going to feel less overwhelmed and less anxious and less guilty, because you're living in accordance to what your body needs and what you need, what your physiology needs. And that's more important than trying to please your boss to get something done and on time when you know you're not at your most creative right now. And that's okay. So make sure in this phase of your cycle, when it comes to work, you're going inward, okay? And you're using this phase to reflect and plan, set intentions, and engaging in deep work that involves you to be a little bit more inward. That is what I encourage you to do. Now, when it comes to your nutrition, we want to think warm, nourishing foods, okay? These are your best friends. Think of things like soups, stews, broths that are packed full of vegetables and animal protein to help replenish your body. Okay, so one of my favorite combos, for example, is a beautiful beef, slow-cooked beef stew, which is packed full of greens and carrots and onions and leeks and celery and just so much good stuff, and it's slow cooked, and I love this kind of food when I'm menstruating, and it feels nourishing and it feels so good for me. Another thing you could do is like a warm quinoa bowl with some roasted vegetables and a drizzle of olive oil and some feta. These meals are really comforting and restorative, and it's exactly what your body needs during this time. If you're a vegetarian, then I highly recommend you eat, lots of lentils, okay? Lentils are the plant-based food you want to focus on. But ultimately, we're focusing on warmth, giving that body that nourishing warmth that it is craving during this phase. So if we look at the focus for your nutrition around phase 1, we are focusing on nourishment, replenishment, and warmth. So remember those 3 words. And these are the micronutrients that you need to consider. Iron to replenish blood loss, which is found in red meat, organ meat like liver. Zinc to support immune function and hormone balance, which is found in beef and shellfish. Vitamin B12, which aids in energy production, and this is found in organ meats and eggs. And then magnesium to help reduce the cramps and support relaxation. And this is found in dark chocolate, which is what every woman's dream is, a bit of chocolate on their period, and pumpkin seeds. So you could look at supplementation around this time of your cycle as well. And the supplementation that I would encourage you to focus on during this time is iron supplements, especially if you're prone to low iron levels or anemia. Magnesium to help with cramps and improve sleep quality, and omega-3s from either fish oil or flaxseed oil to reduce inflammation and support overall hormonal balance. That is phase 1 of your cycle, okay? And if you can do those things a little bit more, and look, let's just make one thing clear. I know it's not always easy to be quote unquote perfect with these suggestions, but if you can do the best you can to take on board some of this information that I'm sharing with you today and some of this value that I'm sharing with you today to help you on your menstrual cycle, you might just start feeling a little bit better about each phase of your cycle and how you feel mentally and physically and emotionally during each phase, and how you can support and nourish your body during each phase of your cycle, so that you are empowered by it and you thrive better and you're working with yourself, not against yourself. Ever had that moment in the gym where you're like, I just don't know why I can't lift heavy, or I just can't push myself, or I feel like I'm useless today. And you look at your cycle app and you're like, hang on a minute. That's why I'm due for my period. If only I had taken more notice of this. One of the things that you could start doing today to make an improvement on your menstrual cycle is literally start tracking your menstrual cycle. And once you start tracking your menstrual cycle, you can then start applying the nutrition suggestions I've made. And then maybe you could set some boundaries at work, or talk to your employer, or if you work for yourself, even better. But just see how you can manipulate things a little bit to suit your cycle. All right, moving on to our next phase, which is springtime, the follicular phase, okay? This is what we're going to compare to spring. This phase obviously follows menstruation and lasts for around 7 to 10 days, depending. With estrogen levels on the rise, you'll likely notice that your energy and mood improve. This is the time of renewal and growth. So workouts will start to pick up here, and this is where I encourage you to begin to increase the intensity. Think about getting those heavier weights out in the strength training sessions that you were lifting prior to menstruation. Maybe you might try some more moderate cardio, like getting out and doing some cycling or going on a hike with a few more hills. This is your time to really start increasing the intensity on the build up to what's going to be summer, okay? This is the phase to set new goals and try out a new workout routine. So this is where you might go, okay, well, I've been consistently lifting, 15 kilos in my bent over rows, I reckon I'm going to try to do 17.5 this week and today. You know what I mean? So you could do things like that to increase the intensity in your workouts, or you could go and try a completely different workout class, like a boxing class, because your body's got the energy and the mental capacity to do so. All right. Now, when it comes to work, your creativity is likely to be at its peak. So this is a great time for brainstorming, making a start on those new projects, and engaging in even social activities. So you might find yourself a little bit more open to being around friends and social environments, whereas in menstruation during winter, you probably didn't really feel like wanting to go out or be around other people, and that's natural. That's okay, because you're ready to go inward. Whereas now, as we come into the follicular phase, you will probably have the mental capacity to be around people and to be in social settings. You're not introverted. We don't always have to give ourselves a label as to why we don't want to go out. It's probably generally just because of our physiology as to why we don't want to go out versus sometimes we do. So if we start living in accordance to our cycle, we can honor our physiology as a woman and start doing the things in life that align with us in the right moments. Okay? So take advantage of the surge in energy and the mental clarity and push yourself a bit. This is the time to push yourself and be a boss-ass bitch. Okay? Now, as for nutrition, this is a time for fresh and vibrant foods, because it's springtime. So think about fresh and vibrant foods that will support your rising energy levels. Things like a spinach salad with maybe some berries if they're in season, or some fruit in it, with some avocado and a citrus dressing, and you might put some grilled chicken on this salad. Or maybe you might be feeling a smoothie with some berries, Greek yogurt, protein powder, and chia seeds. These options are more light, refreshing, and they fuel your body as it gears up for its next phase, which is the summer phase, and that is ovulation. So in regards to the follicular phase, there are definitely some foods that you can really focus on to nourish the body for what it needs. Now, these are the words I want you to focus on when it comes to the follicular phase, and that is renewal, energy, and growth. So when it comes to animal-based proteins, think of things like chicken breasts or turkey, because we want the lean protein for muscle recovery. Fish like salmon or cod, we want those fatty, oily fishes because they are rich in omega-3s. And eggs, which are a complete protein and a good source of, let's just face it, eggs are nature's multivitamin. Okay, they are a great food to have in your diet. Now, micronutrients that you need to focus on. Vitamin D supports ovary function and hormone regulation, which are found in fatty fish and eggs, and also from the sun. Vitamin E, which supports skin health and protects cells from oxidative stress. So these vitamin E is found in nuts and seeds. Folate, which supports cell growth and development, found in leafy greens and liver, if you're an organ meat person. Personally, I do not like the taste of organ meat or the texture, so I take it in capsule form. It's easier for me that way. It's a health hack, right? Sometimes we have to hack our health, and for me, I'd rather not eat the organ meat. I'd rather take a supplement. So I take liver supplements. Anyway, another micronutrient for you to focus on as well is B vitamins, which are going to aid in your energy metabolism, and again found in eggs, poultry, and fish. See how amazing eggs are? Like I said, nature's multivitamin. Now, supplementation. So if you're wanting to supplement, take some supplements during that phase of your cycle, you can focus on taking a vitamin D supplement, especially if you're not getting enough sunlight. Probiotics to support gut health and improve the nutrient absorption. And B complex vitamins to support energy levels and cognitive function. Okay, so you can cycle sync supplements. If you don't want to be taking iron and magnesium and omega-3s every single day, take them during the first phase of your cycle, and then in your next phase of your cycle, focus on taking vitamin D, probiotics, and B complex vitamins. Boosting your nutrition with supplements will help you to feel even better, because if you're eating good food and supplementing, you're going to feel on top of the world, okay? You're going to feel even better than what you could. I'm not saying you have to buy the supplements, but if you want to boost your nutrition because you're eating well and you want to feel even better, that's when supplements really do come in handy. So this is how you can cycle your supplements to support your body's needs in each phase of your cycle. Okay, Moving on to summertime, which is the ovulatory phase. This phase I like to call summer, and this is the peak of your cycle, lasting about 3 to 5 days. With estrogen at its absolute highest, you will be feeling confident, sexy, energized, and ready to take on the world. This is probably the phase where you're going to feel the most horny as well, because naturally your body is at its most fertile. So if you're using your cycle to mark your calendars when the best time is to have sex because you're wanting to recreate a human, this is the time to get down and dirty and go for it. But if you're using your cycle and you're not on any contraception, then this is a time for you to be safe as hell, because this is the time where your body is really like, it's pretty much, if you have unprotected sex, there's a high chance of you getting pregnant. So be really mindful about your sex life around this time. If having a baby is something you're not wanting to do right now, and be mindful, okay? Be mindful. I don't know what method you use, whatever that is for you, use that method. But there are some really spiritual practice on like teaching men how to not ejaculate when they reach their peak, which is probably another podcast for another lesson, and something I'm only really getting into in terms of the research. But there are ways for men to still get off without getting off, which might really help you and get you off those contraceptive pills. Just saying. So a little bit of a side note around the sex life that you may be having around that time. It's going to be really heightened. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel like a badass. You're going to feel on top of the world, okay? Literally on top of the world. So in regards to your workouts, despite the sex life, this is the perfect time for you to go all in on your workouts. High intensity interval training. Go for those runs. Lift as heavy as you can. These are the ideal types of training for you to do at this phase of your cycle, because your body is primed for performing at its best. So maximize this phase with the activities that challenge you, okay? Push yourself. And in your work life, this is the time to absolutely shine. Whether it's presentations, networking with people that freak you the fuck out, or high stakes projects, your communication skills around this time are at their best. You are confident here, so embrace this outward focused energy and utilize it, okay? Honestly, this is the time for you to shine as a woman. Now, in regards to nutrition, focus on lighter cooling foods to balance the body's natural heat during this phase. So think about a grilled salmon with some cucumber and tomato and mozzarella salad, or you could try a quinoa salad with some mixed greens, feta, with some white fish or something like that, as with like a lemon vinaigrette, because these types of meals are satisfying, but they're not going to make you feel like you're weighing yourself down, like feel heavy, if that makes sense. So if we chat about the animal-based proteins that are best for you to eat around this phase, and micronutrients and supplements, I really want you to focus on these words to help you with making nutritional decisions. Focus on what's going to give you peak energy, confidence, and outward focus. So the proteins you want to be focusing on are oysters or shellfish, because they are high in zinc and selenium. Lean cuts of beef or pork for sustained energy and nutrient density. Grilled chicken or turkey for lean, versatile protein. Now, micronutrients that are really important for this phase of your cycle are things like zinc, important for ovulation and immune support, okay, found in shellfish and red meat. Selenium, which supports thyroid function and protects against oxidative stress, found in Brazil nuts and fish. Antioxidants, vitamin C and E, to protect the cells during this high energy phase. So these vitamins are found in citrus fruits, nuts and seeds. Omega-3s to support anti-inflammatory processes of hormone balance. Okay, so omega-3s again found in fatty fish and flax seeds. Now, if you want to supplement during this phase, focus on taking a zinc supplement to support reproductive health and immune function. Omega-3s to support inflammation and control to control inflammation, and also to stabilize your mood. And antioxidants like vitamin C and E to help protect against oxidative stress. Okay, so you can literally, as you can tell from these first 3 phases that I've spoken about, you can hack your health by working in accordance to your cycle, eating in accordance to your cycle, and training in accordance to your cycle. Like, how good does that sound? I think if we can all live in accordance to our cycle, us women are going to be walking around feeling so much more powerful than we already are and what we believe to know. Right, let's talk about the final phase, which is autumn, the luteal phase. And I like to think of it as autumn because this is the phase that leads up to your period and will generally last about 10 to 14 days. In this phase, your progesterone hormone rises and you might notice a dip in energy along with possible PMS symptoms. Now, depending on your nutrition, depending on your current health status, everyone's PMS will be different. When you start to cycle sync your life, when you start to eat enough protein, when you start to live your life in accordance to what you want and who the fuck you are, your PMS will get better. PMS is not a permanent thing. You know, like if you're someone who's like, oh, I always have really sore boobs and the worst headaches every time, like that is not something that you should have every time. And generally, if you're feeling severe PMS, it's because you need to make some dietary changes. You need to start exercising. You need to start drinking more water. You need to start increasing your protein. Your hormones are not in a good place. So PMS is not permanent, but you may experience symptoms around this time. And if you are experiencing symptoms, I highly recommend you reach out and chat about how you can start making changes to your life so that you don't have to live with these awful 10 to 14 days of PMS symptoms. They can be managed, they can be changed. So during this phase, it's wise to transition to the more lower impact workouts. Now, I am not telling you to stop resistance training because as I said before, resistance training should be done every phase of your cycle. But you can start to, if your body feels like it just can't quite lift those heavy weights that it was doing in ovulation and follicular, then just maintain the weights that you were lifting or just put in the reps rather than going as heavy as you can. Unless you can. If you can, go for it. But if you really can't, that's okay. You know, honor your body, listen to what it needs. You might incorporate some more Pilates and yoga as well during this time. Like you won't be doing strength and running and HIIT. You might be doing strength, Pilates and yoga. Okay, so this is how you might balance your exercise. We want to focus on exercises that are helping you to also reduce stress and support hormonal balance. Okay, so I know, you know, for a while there, HIIT training got a really bad rap on causing more stress in the body. And like, yeah, technically like it can in certain phases of your cycle, but not always. It's about learning what your body needs it when it needs it at certain times. Okay. Now, when it comes to work, this is a great time to start wrapping things up or completing tasks and organizing your space, bringing projects to a close, because this phase is all about tying up loose ends and preparing for your next cycle. Now, I know I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure there are a lot of you that are as well, but how many of you have started a task, not completed it, and then started another one, not completed it, started another one, not completed it, and now you have all these unopened loops that need closing? Now, if we started focusing on 1 or 2 projects at a time during each cycle and closing those loops during luteal phase, I think we would get a lot more done and we would feel a lot less overwhelmed, because we're not putting so much pressure on finishing 50 different things when we should have just focused on finishing the first one in the first place, rather than having all these unclosed loops, which only creates more clutter in our brain. So this is the time to start tying up loose ends. And if you're new to this whole cycle syncing thing, then this is probably the best time for you to start going, okay, well, rather than starting a new project, I'm going to start closing some of the loops of the projects I've already half done. I need to start finishing some stuff so I feel lighter. I want to take the load off. I'm going to really focus on organizing my desktop and making sure I haven't got 50 open tabs as I look at my computer now with 50 open tabs and close those loops. By the way, as I record this, I am nearly in ovulation, so I'm at the peak of my energy right now and generally have lots of tabs open because I have got the capacity to smash it and do shitloads. So, you know, living in accordance to my cycle and practicing what I preach here. But I know that when it comes to luteal phase, those loops need to be closed, and I need to start closing those loops because I don't want to be coming into menstruation feeling even more overwhelmed, like I've got so much to do. Okay. Now, in terms of your nutrition, This is a time that you really want to emphasize on complex carbs, magnesium-rich foods, and healthy fats to support your mood and energy. A delicious meal idea that I like myself is something like sweet potatoes with a side of steamed spinach and grilled chicken, or a nice piece of scotch, or try a comforting bowl of oatmeal with flax seeds, banana, and a sprinkle of cinnamon for brekkie. These foods will help to stabilize your blood sugar levels, keeping you feeling nice and balanced. So what I really would love for you to focus on during your luteal autumn phase, these are the words that you really want to take into consideration, and they are preparation, support, and balance. So animal-based proteins that will be really good for you in this phase are turkey, because they will help. Turkey helps with mood regulation because it contains tryptophan. And fatty fish like mackerel or sardines, rich in omega-3s and vitamin D. I think you're probably seeing a bit of a pattern here with the omega-3s and vitamin D, ladies. Eggs as well, rich in protein and choline, and this will help with mood and cognitive function. Micronutrients that are really important during this phase is magnesium, which will help to reduce PMS symptoms, support relaxation, and magnesium is found in dark leafy greens and nuts, but it can also be supplemented. Vitamin B6, which helps with mood regulation and reducing bloating, found in poultry and fish. Calcium, which supports bone health and reduces PMS symptoms, found in dairy and leafy greens. Omega-3s, which will help with mood stabilization and reduce inflammation, found in fatty fish and flax seeds. Supplements to consider: magnesium to reduce PMS symptoms and support sleep, vitamin B6 to help with mood swings and bloating, calcium to reduce PMS symptoms and support overall health, and even some evening primrose oil to reduce breast tenderness and other PMS symptoms if they occur. So by incorporating more foods and focusing on key nutrients that help support each phase of your cycle, you can better support your body's natural rhythms, promote overall health and well-being, and the supplementation you can literally do in accordance to your cycle as well. But I always like to make this disclaimer, and like anything that you start, make sure that you consult with your doctor before starting any supplementation. However, living your life in accordance to your cycle is literally no danger to any woman, but if anything, it is going to do you so much more good than harm. Now, if you are on contraception like the IUD, the copper rod, the pill, and things like that, and you are like, oh, this podcast doesn't mean anything to me because I don't get my period, you are a woman and you have the same physiology as me. Now, I have not been on contraception since I was 19 because I'm very in tune with my body, and the pill never agreed with me. And since then, I have never been on any other contraception apart from my own methods, and I will not ever go on contraception again because I don't want anything fucking with my hormones. I want my body to be as it is, and I want my physiology to work for me. And that is what I'm so passionate about helping other women do too. Now, don't disregard this information because you're still a female, you still have the same biology, and it's important that you still live in accordance to your cycle, whether you think you have one or not. If you're on the IUD and you don't get a period, you probably have what I call, and what I say to my clients, is a phantom cycle, where you'll probably still get symptoms and feel certain ways around certain things, because just because you have something stopping you from getting pregnant doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a cycle. So start living your life in accordance to cycle syncing, and it'll literally change your life, change your health, change your perspective on what it means to be a woman, and you can start living life feeling more empowered by who you are and your physiology, and more empowered by what you're capable of and who you are as a woman. I hope that you found this podcast helpful. I hope that you found this way of explaining it helpful and helping you to understand your own unique rhythm and energy, just like the seasons. By syncing your lifestyle with these natural rhythms, you can enhance your well-being, improve your fitness, and feel more connected to your body. I encourage you to start paying attention to how you feel during each phase and make adjustments to your workouts, your workload, and your nutrition accordingly. so that your body is thriving and working with you and you're not working against your own physiology. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe to the podcast, leave me a 5-star review if you're feeling really kind, or share it with friends who might benefit from this information. And as always, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes by sending me a DM on Instagram @ReneeDiamond. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode on Well Body.